Hello, everybody. This is section 3.4. These notes should be, I think, fairly quick, but there's a bit of review, and it does require you to remember a few of the rules from grade 8 math. So I really need to go over these, make sure you're solid on this, and we'll be applying that stuff from grade 8 math into our new concepts, into our new ideas with rational numbers. So before some glossary terms, a mixed number is a number consisting of a whole number and a fraction. Let me draw one for you. So 3, that's our whole number, and 1/3, that would be our fraction. This is called a mixed number. And an improper fraction is a fraction with a numerator, so that's the top, remember, north, that is larger than the denominator. Remember, denominator D for down. So if we have 17 over 10, the numerator, the top number, is bigger than our denominator, the bottom number. So this is called an improper fraction. And a little bit of a refresher, we're going to be looking at multiplying. Oops, that's not the highlight. Multiplying rational numbers. So we need a little bit of a refresher on the rules for multiplying positive and negative numbers. So a positive and a positive is a positive. I often do these little happy faces. Oh, let me go like this. So a positive and a positive is a positive. That's if you times or multiply or times or divide. If you have a positive and a negative, that's a negative. I need some more room here for my faces. How about right here? So if you have a positive and a negative, that's a negative. If you have a negative and a positive, that's a negative. But if you have a negative and a negative, that's a positive. Okay, that's one way to remember it. The smiley faces, I like them, so they work for me. So with multiplying fractions, when multiplying fractions, we simply times the numerators together and times the denominators together. So you multiply the tops and you multiply the bottoms. So let's go. Let's move our negative to the top. So we're looking at 2 times -1, which would give us -2. Or maybe I should draw this out a little bit for you. 2 times -1 over 5 times 2. And we get -2. That's 2 times -1 is -2 over 5 times 2 is 10. And we can reduce this further by asking ourselves, is there anything that goes into these evenly, multiplies evenly, and we can take out a factor of 2, so it becomes 1 over 5. I just divided each by 2. So there you go. Next one, sometimes we can simplify the fraction before we multiply. So the way that you can simplify the fraction is by looking diagonal. So we ask ourselves, is there anything that goes into 7 that also goes into 13? These are both prime numbers, so no, there's the only things that go into 1 are 7 and 13 are just 1 in that number. But 8 and 10, I know that there is a number that can go into each of them. That number is 2. So 2 can go into 8 4 times, and 2 can go into 10 5 times. And now I just multiply straight across. So I go 5 times -13 over 7 times 4. And we get, I think that's -65 over 7 times 4 is 28. Is there anything that goes into each of these? I can't think of it, but we can convert this into a mixed number. So you have to ask ourselves, how many times does 28 go into 65 without going over? I know it can go at least 2, and that would give us 56. So 2 would be our big number. Then we'd have 56. To get from 56 to 65, that's going to be a negative. We go up by 4 and then 5 more, so we should have 9 over 28. You can easily do that in your calculator as well. You can go 65 divided by 28, and you get 2 point, et cetera, et cetera. So we know that that 2 is going to be our big number. And then we can go 2 times 28, get 56. And you can go 65 minus 56 equals 9. So that's how you do that in your calculator. And honestly, if you can't figure it out in your head, just use a calculator. It's okay. Last one, we can also simplify mixed numbers by first converting them to improper fractions. So best in this situation not to try to multiply these and multiply the fractions. Just convert them to an improper fraction first. So we do that by multiplying the denominator by the whole number and adding the numerator. 5 times 4 is 20 plus 3, so negative 23 over the same denominator over 5. And there's nothing in between these, which means that there's a secret multiplying in between them. But let's convert this. First, 12 times 2 is 24, plus 5 is 29, so negative 29 over 12. Now we just need to multiply the tops and multiply the bottoms. So I'm going to do that in my calculator. They're both negatives, so I'm just going to do them as positives. 23 times 29 equals 667. And 5 times 12 is 60. Then we can ask ourselves, how many times does 60 go into 667 without going over? I know that it could go in 10 times. That would get us to 600. And another one would get us to 11 with 7 over 60 left over. You can do that in your calculator. 667 divided by 60 equals 11 and a bit left over. 11 times 60 equals 660 with just 7 left over. So I will give you the textbook questions to work on. Thank you so much.